Hey guys, it's pretty late, but I feel particularly bored, so I'm gonna teach you guys a very fun thing with drumming that I always love doing. It's called the heel toe method, and I'm gonna try to explain it as explicitly as I can. Hopefully, you'll be able to do it. Alright, so this is the heel toe method, one of the most horribly named techniques ever. Now, the reason why it's called the heel toe method is because of this. Now, it looks like when I do that my heel's pushing down that first part and I'm springing forward like this. This is not the case. This is not the case at all, and I know it looks that way, but it's not. My heel is currently touching the back plate of my pedal. Even if I stomp on that with all of my toes at full force, that pedal's not going forward. So it can't possibly be my heel that's pushing this forward when I go like this. What is pushing the pedal forward is the balls of my feet, right there. When I drop my first stroke, what's really pushing the pedal forward is the balls of my feet. They're right there. And then I just roll them forward to do the second stroke. Now, let me actually explain to you what the two strokes are, because there's two strokes to this. So basically, the first stroke is, first of all, the starting position is this. I always start, when I'm doing this slow for demonstration purposes, I mean, when I'm doing it fast, the motion's less exaggerated. When I'm doing this technique, I always start with my heel up like this. And my first stroke, usually I'm doing this whenever I'm hitting single strokes with my bass drum. My first stroke is basically that. The only difference is that instead of keeping my heel up as soon as I make the stroke, I drop my heel down. So it should look like this. Okay? Now you'll notice that I'm immediately cocking my toes up like this. I mean, they're not flat on the pedal like this, they're up like this. That's because the second stroke is you shifting your weight on your foot forward to bring your toes up so you can do that second stroke. So start, first stroke, second stroke. So balls of your feet, toes of your feet. Ball, toe, ball, toe, ball, toe. I call it ball toe because that's actually what you're hitting the pedal with. It doesn't make any sense to call it heel toe. So, and there are people out there who actually do this method and use heel toe. And they actually physically get far enough on the pedal where they do this. Now, I have a problem with that, because that method either means you have to have really small feet, like mine, hello, or you have to have a pedal that doesn't have this back plate. It has a pedal where the entire springy part of the pedal goes all the way to the very, very back of your pedal. And honestly, you don't need either of those. If you can learn how to pivot the balls of your feet, you can do this until kingdom come, and you won't, I mean, there are people out there with like size 15 feet that would never be able to do it on this pedal if they legitimately did heel toe. So, you don't need, it doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't matter what size feet they have, it doesn't matter what pedal they have. This method is able to be done by anybody. It also doesn't matter what footwear you're wearing. You can do it with socks, you can do it with shoes, you can do it barefoot, you can do it in sandals, you can do it in flip-flops, you can do it... I saw a guy who did it with a pair of snow boots once. It is entirely possible to do this no matter what your footwear is. Now, one thing I'll say is that the thing that really sucks about this method, despite it being easy, yes, this method really is actually very easy. Doing this is not that difficult. What is difficult is that the idea of going at this pace is only possible if you spend a lot of time doing this. Which is unfortunate because you're never ever going to use heel toe at a tempo that slow. You'll just go What I just did right there was all with my right foot. Just single strokes. And I can do that for a pretty long time, but this, I can go on for quite a while. And I can do it at a faster tempo, and I can do it more consistently. So that's why I love heel-toe. It's so useful to have. You can throw bass triplets in your beats, and it'll sound really groovy, or you can do some really crazy fills with it. Is it possible to do this with your left foot? Yes, absolutely. I can't, but people who play with double bass drums or a double bass pedal, and they have to do, 16th notes with their bass drums, they absolutely can do heel-toe with both feet and just go with their feet. And those people are crazy. Now you'll notice two things as I do this at a fast tempo. The first thing you'll notice is that I'm not bringing my heel all the way up for my starting position. It's actually staying relatively close to the base of the pedal. And the reason why that is because as you do something and you exaggerate it, you can exaggerate it at a slow tempo, but as you get faster and faster at it, you don't have time to bring this up to that same, you can't bring it up to that height. What I mean is, let's take flams for instance. When I'm practicing flams at a slow tempo, I bring my sticks up to 90 degrees off the pad when I'm doing them at a tempo of but when I have to do them at a tempo of, I kind of exaggerate less the whole 90 degrees part of that because I don't have time to bring my stick all the way up to 90 degrees before my next flam. So it's the same thing with this. Another thing you might notice, and I notice this too, is that sometimes when I'm going really fast with my heel-toe, I'll slide my foot up to a part of the pedal where I legitimately could use my heel to propel the pedal forward. I get up to here, and people are like, well, you're totally using your heel, and that's not true. I've been practicing this long enough where using my heel to push the pedal forward is actually a hindrance. So even when my foot's up here, I'm not using my heel. I'm using the balls of my feet. And the reason that my foot scoots up there, I don't know, it's more comfy up there. I don't get it either, but it's just where my foot wants to be. I'm still using the technique in its entirety. I can still do it back here to prove it. Now, to really prove that my heel is doing absolutely nothing and that anybody can do this, I'm going to back my foot down. My heel is literally touching my carpet. It is in no way propelling this pedal forward, and yet still achievable. Certainly not recommended to go for back there. Right here is way easier, but that is how you do heel-toe. So you have your heel up at starting position. Your drop is basically a single stroke. The only difference is that you're going to bring your foot down and your toes up. So starting, fun stuff. And finally, the last thing we need to talk about is what to do as soon as you think you've got this down. Because then it's time for you to incorporate it in playing with your hands. So the first thing I would do, and again, practice these at a slow tempo, learning a piece of music or a technique takes a lot of patience, so be patient with this, is triplets. More specifically, you're going to be doing the first part of the triplet with your hands, and then the other part with your bass drum. And again, practice these very slowly and make sure you keep the technique. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. Eventually you can get to the point where you're like 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. As soon as you think you figured that out, you could do paradiddles. And this paradiddle is between your hands and your foot. Right, left foot, foot. And that is a paradiddle because a paradiddle is 2 singles and a double, and these are 2 separate singles. Right, left, foot, foot, right, left, foot, foot, right, left, foot, foot. And again, practice this slow and keep up the technique. So right, left, foot, foot, right, left, foot, foot, right, left, foot, foot, right, left, foot, foot, right, left, foot, foot. I love using that fill all the time, just going across the toms with your hands while you're still doing. It works pretty well. Additionally, that triplet can come in handy when you're doing some drum set patterns, and I don't have a hi-hat right next to me right now, but like even if you're just doing 1/8 notes on your hi-hat and you're just doing quarter notes in your, or 2 and 4 on your snare. That can be pretty cool. If you get really, really good, and I'm sorry I'm not going to do a close-up for this because I'm just that lazy, you can do 2 toes at the very end to get a triple stroke, and it's really hard to do, and I mean, even I'm not that good at it, but you can throw triples in there, like. So, work on this, and as soon as you think you've got the technique down, do triplets. And then do doubles. Or sorry, paradiddles. And then try to throw them in grooves. I really hope you guys enjoyed the lesson, and I hope you all use heel toe, because it's very, very cool. Thanks so much for watching.